Hey guys, I'm Braiden from Wicked Ridge Outdoors. What I'm doing here today is I'm explaining how my archery season went since it came to an end, sadly. Archery is very hard and very competitive sport, you can say, which it is a sport. Obviously, hunting is always a sport. So let's start from day one. Day one, I went out. Well, the night before, I was really excited. I couldn't wait. I shot my bow and everything. Was ready to go. In my head, I just had this picture of a deer coming out where this opening is at my tree stand and letting her fly. So the first day I was in my tree stand, it was about maybe 7, 8 o'clock. It was kind of early. Had a spike walk out. Didn't want to shoot a spike. I was trying to beat my record from the year before, a couple years ago. And then I called it. Didn't see anything the rest of the day. Second day I went out. This is where the fun happens. I had a buddy with me because he was going to grunt and call for me and do everything for me while I had my bow in my hand. So it's 8 o'clock, and this stand's popping at 8 o'clock always. And it's up near the top of the property, like near a food plot kind of, because the neighbor has a food plot. So I'm sitting there, and I hear something coming from behind me. 6-point comes out first, and a 4-point follows. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And there's one little limb in front of me, my tree stand. So what I got to do is I get up on my seat, and I draw back on the 6-point. But I have harness on, so remember that, guys, harness. So you don't got to be scared to stand up and stuff. So what I was going to do is I was going to wait till he comes out in the opening and shoot. But then he stopped and stared for a little bit. And this is where I was like, oh gosh, tell me this is not another buck coming. And no sooner later, this 8-point comes out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's a tank. But he was just too far from me. I was like, I want to see if he comes in. So I let it die down. I sit back down quietly, and I'm just watching him. And the 6-point just keeps looking at the 8-point. And they finally, the 6-point's walking up to the 8-point, and the 8-point just lays down. I'm like, oh boy, tell me they're not about to fight. And they start fighting. I was like, wow, this is an awesome experience. Never seen anything like this in the woods. It was just crazy sitting in the stand and hearing them antlers clash in the woods. It was awesome. Then what happened was 8-point got back up. He got up before they started fighting, and they all walked down by the pine trees. And I was like, son of a gun, there goes my day. This could have shot a 6-point. But then I was like, you know what? It was pretty cool seeing this experience, so it's okay. And then as they were going down over the hill, there was another buck that followed. I couldn't tell what it was, but it was awesome. Day 3, I went out, didn't see anything. And I was thinking to myself, wow, this is nuts. I have not seen one doe yet. I've just seen all buck. I'm like, maybe this is my year. And day 5 comes around, seeing nothing. Day 6, I go out in the evening, and I see the spike again. And it's pretty windy. He doesn't see me. I just am watching him. He hung out for a long time. So second week, I'm hunting with the landowner named George, and he is an awesome guy. Like, he'll do anything for me. I love him. He's like my second pap. We were sitting together, and we get in the stand about 6 o'clock. And no sooner later, 6 o'clock, it's pitch black out still. Sounds like someone's walking in the woods. I'm like, oh gosh. I hear George going, that's a deer. That's a buck. That's a big buck. Daylight comes, we don't see anything. So I stand up to look around, and I must have crushed a leaf up on the stand, and I see antlers move. And I was like, wow. And George is going, my God. Not out loud, but my God. It was awesome. He had the biggest rack of antlers, but I couldn't have a shot. You know why? Because brush was in front of me, and I didn't want to make a bad shot. Because if I was going to kill this deer, I wanted to have a good, clean shot and make sure it died. And so no sooner later than again, probably like an hour later, he laid there forever. 4-point comes down off the mountain. And we were getting all excited. I had my bow ready to go. He came in 30 yards from us, so we range find at daylight, just so we know our surroundings where we could shoot. And somehow he must have saw us. He ran up the hill. And the big buck, I got ready right on the big buck, ready for it to run at us or away. And it ran away, but it was a bad shot still. All I saw was its rear end. And I'm telling you what, the rack on that thing and the body on that thing, it looked like a cow on deer legs. It was awesome. Never seen anything else like that. And the 4-point was just watching us from like 50, 60 yards away. I'm like, you son of a gun. And it was just a cool experience. I was just like, wow, that's a big buck. Never seen anything like it. And then ever since then, I went out the next couple of days. I kept switching up the tree stands from where I saw the 8-point to where I was sitting with George, and I have not seen one of them deer since. And that pretty much came to excitement in the tree stand for me till the end of the season, because since this whole COVID thing hit and everything, with school, it is very hard to go out and just sit all day, because you just have that thought in your head when you're tree stand, I wish I could sit here all day, but when you get home, you got to do your schoolwork. And it's not easy going out hunting and trying to get film and stuff with all the schoolwork waiting for you at home. So you got to compromise. You got to go out in the morning, come back, do your schoolwork, and then you can go back out. But I kept like getting behind a little bit. And then I had to call it. I had to say, you know what? My grades are more important than hunting. Even though I love hunting, I can hunt all day, every day. And I just had to catch up on my work, and I did. And now we're in bear season. And I never hunted bear before, and I bought a license. And, I said, you know what? I'll give it a try with some friends. We'll go drive with their family and stuff. And first day, nothing happened, but there was a bear shot pretty close to us. And it was, I think it was 401 live weight. And I was like, wow, that would have been nice to shoot. But I never shot a bear or never seen a bear. Well, I've seen a bear, but never hunted for him. And I was like, I'll give it a shot this year. And I've been going out every day since Saturday. And I haven't seen anything. We just kept jumping deer and deer. And I'm just ready for rifle, baby. This is where I'm going to come back and hopefully get one for you guys. And Saturday is the first opening day for rifle season. Sunday we can hunt. That's the first ever we can hunt on Sunday, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to sit in the morning and drive like crazy in the afternoon. I'm going to try to get one. Since my time didn't come in archery season, I really hope this is my time to shine and rifle. But if not, I still got late season. So I have to put in my time to keep up with my schoolwork, do that compromise, and hopefully I get one. So I'm Braiden from Wicked Ridge Outdoors. Stay tuned for this weekend. I hope we bring one to you.
What's up, guys? Zach from Wicked Ridge Outdoors here, and today I'm going to explain my 2020 archery season. So my 2020 archery season started out early in the morning when I woke up. Took me a while to get out of bed. I wasn't used to waking up that early, and so I get my tree stand early in the morning, get in plenty before daylight, just so I had plenty of time to get ready. Probably got in there a good 45 minutes before daylight, so I could set everything up, get all my tree hangers set up. First morning, I see like 4 doe. That's about it. So I come back the same evening, and all I see again is doe. So this is right before rut. So I'm thinking, if I keep seeing these doe here, I'm gonna get a great opportunity to see a buck in rut. So I keep hunting. I go to my pap's house, which he has a really good doe spot there. There's not as many buck. I sit there. I saw a couple doe. I had a couple doe at like 15 yards, but they were just yearling doe, so I didn't take a shot at them because they were too small. So I'm just keep waiting for a doe to walk by that's good size, and I never really got a shot at one that walked by. So fast forward to rut. I still hunted pretty heavy in pre-rut and right before pre-rut. So the most action started right as rut hit, like a pre-rut. I think the rut was a little bit early this year. So it was probably near the end of October when I started seeing the buck. This is the tree stand where I always have been seeing my buck. This is up at my main deer spot where I hunt. So it's like one of the first days of rut, and I'm there by myself with a GoPro. And here comes this buck. It's probably about an 8-point, I'm going to guess. He was chasing a doe. He comes right in, like probably 50 yards from my stand, chasing a doe in. The buck hangs out in this thick stuff, and the doe goes out into the open. So the doe's just chilling there in the open. It's about 35 yards away, and the buck just never came out of the thick stuff. And then eventually they just ran off down the hill. So that day was kind of upsetting because I had a buck chasing and coming towards my stand. He might have gotten my wind. I'm not exactly sure, but they just never fully committed in. So fast forward about another 2 days later. I hunted the stand the next 2 days, but I didn't see anything. So about 2 days pass, and I'm with one of my buddies filming me. And we get in the stand, and we're there for like 5 minutes. We're set up. We literally just got set up. All of a sudden, here comes this buck, a smaller buck, probably about a 4-point, chasing the doe. And then about a minute later, a big buck walks out, comes chasing down, and he's just running in circles, chasing this doe hard. This is still pre-rut. This is late October again, like I said. This buck was one of the bigger bucks of the property. He was a big buck. He was running about 40 yards from my stand the closest I got him. But he just would not stop. I tried grunting, just wouldn't fully commit in. He was on the same side where that buck came in the other day, or a couple days before then. But he never gave me a shot. So I got bummed out again that I didn't get a shot on that buck, which he was one of the bigger bucks of the property. So then fast forward another probably 5-6 days. I gave that stand a rest. I let that stand kind of chill everything out because there was a lot of action and a lot of heavy pressure hunting since me, my dad, and my brother were all hunting that same property. So give it another week, and I'm hunting my pap's house still, just trying to get a doe. Nothing fully came in there either. So then about another week later, I'm sitting there. This is like the heart of rut. And I was sitting in the same tree stand, and on the same side that the buck and the doe came in, another buck was coming from the side. He was chasing two doe, and I just saw him out of the corner of my eye. I saw two doe running down the hill. So I'm guessing if they're running like that, I'm guessing there's a buck with it. So I grunt a little bit and do a little doe bleat. And then this buck, he was a nice 8-point. Wasn't as big as the one I saw the day before or a week before. He comes running down the hill, and then as soon as I grunt and bleat, he comes in. He starts coming towards me. So he starts walking towards me slowly, and he thought there was a buck around because he was showing his dominance by rubbing his antlers up against a tree. He was pretty big. He was a wide buck. And he just keeps walking towards me slowly, and he takes a hard turn at about 40 yards. He starts walking down at 40 yards, and then he takes a turn. He's like 40 yards in front of me. But I wasn't comfortable taking a shot at 40 yards when he was tucked behind a tree. I just barely could see him broadside. I couldn't take a shot, sadly, because I wasn't comfortable with it. I wanted to make sure I had a clean shot. I didn't want to wound a deer just because I didn't get a full good look at him, and he just wasn't perfectly broadside at a good range, and he was tucked behind a tree, of course, like I said. So he walks down the hill, and walks back down the hill, and this is the day I was by myself again this day too, with a GoPro. He just walks down the hill then. I was pretty bummed out, but then I get out my rattlers and I'm thinking maybe this buck wants to fight. So I get up slowly. He's still there. He's just kind of slowly walking away. So I get out my antlers and start fighting. He stops and looks. He stands there and looks for a solid, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. He's just standing there. He's probably 60 yards. He didn't come back in there, so I guess he wasn't fully committed to the fight. So he keeps walking down. He just never gave me a shot, which that was the last time I saw a decent shooter buck at this property. And it bummed me out. I was bummed out, and it just happens when you're archery hunting. It's just part of archery hunting, I guess, where stuff like that happens. So I come back another week later. This is like probably last week here when it was the end of rut. Right before the end of the season, and I was sitting in a climber. My brother was sitting in the tree stand that I was in. My dad was hunting a blind, and my brother was hunting the tree stand where I saw the buck, and I was sitting in a climber. And we got in a little bit late this day. I got in just before daylight, a little bit later than I would prefer. But everything was going good. I had some turkeys come in, and then here comes this little 6-point. He walks up probably 30 yards from my stand. He was broadside 30 yards. I was sitting in a climber, so obviously I didn't have a cameraman that day. And he just stood there broadside. I could have shot him, but he was just a little bit small for me. I knew the buck that was on the property, and after seeing the buck that I saw in rut, I couldn't take a shot. I didn't want to end up seeing something bigger in rifle or in the next day. So I didn't take the shot, and that's about all I saw that day. I heard a buck grunting up above me, and that same day my dad saw a monster 8-point in the blind. So that evening I went to that blind because my dad didn't go that evening. So I went up to the blind. Unfortunately, I didn't see anything in the blind that day, and I was kind of bummed out because after that I only had 1 day left of archery. So the last day of archery, I went out, and the best I could do was I didn't see a buck. Right before dark, though, I had a whole bunch of doe come in. I had one at like 35 yards, but he wasn't standing broadside, so I didn't take the shot. So that wrapped up my 2020 archery season. I saw a lot of action this year, more buck than I've seen normally, and I think hopefully now in rifle season, I'm going to take a different approach. If I sit in the same tree stand, which I don't know if I'm going to because I feel like that's a mainly rut spot, which I mean, if there's still a buck there, I mean, they might come through. But I guess we'll just find out here. I got to think about what I'm going to do here at rifle season coming in this weekend. But other than that, it was a pretty good archery season. Unfortunately, I had a couple really close calls with deer, but just nothing fully committed to me. So, I was kind of bummed out about that, but it happens in archery. So just stay tuned, guys, here in rifle season. We're going to hopefully bring you guys some action. I'm hoping this year we get it done. I get it done in rifle. Hopefully we all get it done in rifle because none of us got a buck in archery, unfortunately. But Hayden did shoot one. You guys will see that video. I don't know if this video will be his video will be before or after this video. So if you guys didn't already see Hayden's buck kill video, that's coming soon. He shot a nice, what was it, like a 8-point? Mm-hmm. It was a pretty nice buck. So yeah, hopefully Coy gets one. I hope I get one. I hope we all get one here in rifle season. So just stay tuned, stay along with us, guys. And unfortunately, we didn't get good enough footage. We didn't get enough footage to create a couple videos out of it. It's because we didn't want to bore you guys with videos without deer kills. So we're gonna hopefully bring you guys some action in rifle, and just stay tuned right here in Wicked Ridge Outdoors.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I didn't shoot nothing in archery season. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding about not shooting anything, but it was pretty eventful. But then again, not so much. It was kind of hit and miss. I went a couple times. Like the first week I went out and I didn't see anything, and the second week I seen, I don't even want to narrow it down to weeks. I'll just tell you when I seen stuff and when I didn't. The one time I was sitting there and I was just chilling out in a corner, and like behind me, like I'm on like it's not like a ridge, but there's a ravine beside me, and like I'm on the top like cut, and then up there where I have my food plot, and I was just sitting there, and Zach went with me a couple times, but when he went to film, we didn't see anything. But I was sitting there, and they always seemed to want to show up behind me, and I always had to turn around. And I got some clips of little does like messing around behind me, and a couple button buck. And the one time I was sitting there, and I got a little button buck on film. I wasn't going to shoot it because I'm not going to shoot a button buck, and other than that, I mean, I seen some deer chasing and running around and stuff, but my best experience this year would have to be the last day. The last day I was sitting down in the ravine beside me, they were running everywhere and chasing, and I could tell there was a buck chasing. It was just too far, like I couldn't tell what it was, and they were just chasing each other around, and they never got close enough to me. And then I'm sitting there and I hear something coming from behind me, and I was like, oh crap. And like by the time, I was sitting in my tree stand just like this, and by the time I did that, I see out of the corner of my eye, he drops down over like 40 yards before he gets to me. He drops down over the side. Nice buck. I couldn't tell you how many points he had, but I could tell you he had real like pearl white horns, and I'm pretty sure it was legal, and I was excited. And I'm sitting there like just breathing heavy, watching it just get further and further away from me, just like anybody else does. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll do a grunt, maybe he'll stop. So I get my grunt tube out, and nothing. He keeps, like, he's not running, but he's moving briskly. And I'm like, it's the last day. So I'm like, screw it. I was like, bleh. And then he stopped. And I'm like, oh, okay, we got something. And then I didn't want to overdo it, so I just shut up and watched him. And I'm sitting there watching him. He ain't moving, and then he starts taking more steps. And, like, he's not, like, he's aware of what I did, but, like, he's not interested in coming to see me at the top of the hill with my bow. So it kind of ended because he kind of just drifted off. And I wasn't going to sit there like madman. Like, I wasn't going to do all that. So I just kind of played it cool. I was excited, but like as he was getting further away from me, I was getting less excited. And he eventually walked off and I never seen him again. But I got some good trail camera pictures of deer early in the season. We did food plots this year, which was fun. Whitetail Institute Imperial Clover for my dad's. Whitetail Institute Beets and Greens for Noah's. And then Whitetail Institute Secret Spot Blend for mine. It was okay. It wasn't bad. And it turned out to be a decent season. I mean, it wasn't great, obviously, because we're sitting here talking to you now and we didn't shoot anything. Sorry. We got film and stuff, but like Zach said, we ain't going to show you film like, hey guys, it's the 5th of November and we're sitting in the state. Like, we're not going to, like, nobody wants to see that. They want to see action. And hopefully rifle season's coming up. And for some reason, I get excited about archery season because, like, I shot my first doe last year with my bow and, like, I got the fever. But, like, archery season's over now. Missed opportunities, rookie mistakes, we're going to learn from them and move on. But rifle season, I'm excited about it this year because I don't care. It's going to happen. Hopefully. Knock on wood. But I'm excited, and hopefully you guys haven't forgot about us. And we're sorry that we haven't been posting lately. Like Zach said earlier, Hayden shot a buck. Cool deal. That'll be sweet to see on video. They're new at it, Hayden and Coy. Hayden's been doing a good job, and Coy does a good job too. They both know what they're doing, but they need to get the filming down probably a little bit better, just like we did. I mean, no slack towards them. I mean, we all got to learn, so it should be good film. They shot a raccoon or something under the light with Fox Pro call, so that might be a video. I'm not sure how much film they got of it, and I know Hayden's been trapping and stuff too, so hopefully we'll get some of that on video, or he did. Zach's waiting on the card in the mail right now, and he's going to sift through it and see what videos he can do with that. What I'm going to tell you is hopefully you stayed with us this long, and I know this video is not very exciting, so I'm trying to spruce it up a little bit with a little bit of humor, but we're looking forward to rifle season. We'd just like to thank everybody that has followed us this far. Facebook's doing really good. We're almost to 1,500 followers on Facebook. Love you guys. We really appreciate it. Instagram, we're up over 1,000. YouTube, we're suffering a little bit. We're just over 400, but we appreciate every single one of those subscribers, and we just appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with us and sticking with us this far. I know we haven't got much content through archery season. Hopefully we get a little bit more content and more videos posted somewhat more frequently. We're going to try to do our best. Zach's our only editing man, so we can't pile it all on him. Just like him and Braiden, all this COVID, they got to do schoolwork at home and all that bull crap. So hopefully we get some more stuff on film for you. We learn from our past mistakes and we do better each time. It's all about getting better. And we're doing what we love and we're loving what we do. And this is Wicked Ridge Outdoors, and we'll see you next time.